welcome to Showreel. I'm Toni Pankaluik.
And I'm Catherine Tucker, finally hosting my 4th episode after I was hitting the books hard 15 episodes ago.
Later on the show, we have 2 flashback reviews of Australian classics Strictly Ballroom and The Adventures of Priscilla, Queen of the Desert.
But first, we'd like to introduce today's guest. He's the frontman of the Queensland-based Queen tribute band Killer Queen, and he's a dead ringer for Freddie Mercury. Welcome to the show, John Blunt.
Hello there, how are you?
I'm fantastic, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
It's wonderful to have you here. So tell us a little bit how this all got started.
Well, it got started a few years ago now. I had a friend of mine that was in a covers band, and I eventually was the frontman for that covers band many years ago. And it was just Halloween. We said we were all going to turn up as our dead artist, our favourite dead artist, and the drummer turned up as Jimi Hendrix, and it was just a bit of fun. And I turned up as Freddie Mercury, and they all just looked at me and went, "That is extremely scary." I texted on a mustache and had an old white singlet. And anyway, many years later, I worked at Movie World, and I just wanted to do something, outside of the theme park that I was working at, and hopefully I wanted to, create a living. And that's a very short story, but that's how it sort of started.
Yeah.
Got together a few bandmates and tried a few songs, and we thought, I think we could probably do this.
Give it a crack.
I did, yeah.
So
yeah,
were
exactly.
you ever a fan of Freddie Mercury and Queen beforehand?
I was a fan of rock and roll. My father was a big Chuck Berry, Little Richard, Elvis, and the Beatles and all that type of stuff. So I was listening to that probably way up into a point of my life where I probably shouldn't have. I was getting teased because I wasn't listening to all the later stuff. But when I discovered the music of Queen, I was instantly a fan. It was just magical music. It was in movies like Highlander and of course Flash Gordon and all the rest of it. So when I discovered it, it was that's all I really wanted to listen to.
Yeah, and how did you turn that kind of interest into a job? Because now you do lots of tours and everything. What was that process to go from being an interest into actually something that can make you money?
Well, I've always been a poser. Ever since I was a child, I had to have I was the centre of attention regardless. And oh look, it was just something in my blood. I've really done a lot of different types of jobs. I've been a plumber, I've been a sales assistant and a welder and all those types of things. But I was crap at all of that stuff, rubbish. But I just always had, I just wanted to perform. That's all I ever wanted to do. And as you get older, and I was able to grow a mustache, it was perfect. So that was for me. For joining a Queen show. I was in other cover bands and tribute shows and stuff like that. I tried my hand at acting, did a couple of ads, but at the end of the day, this is a job that you can do all the time, every weekend, year in, year out, and so far I've been lucky enough to do that.
Yeah, and you mentioned to me earlier, it's actually, I think one of the reasons you're saying you're getting so much more work is because it's actually quite a unique, cover that you guys do. There aren't a lot of other people out there doing Queen. Do you find that has helped you? Yeah,
absolutely. When I first started doing it, I just wanted to see on YouTube if there was many other people doing it, how they were doing it. It's good to check out your opposition and see what other people are doing. And there just wasn't that many people doing it. There's about 3 guys in England and the UK that are absolutely outstanding. And it was a bit intimidating, I must say. When I saw that, I thought, oh God, they are the business. They were fantastic. But there wasn't there isn't just a lot of people doing it, and I've befriended just about all of them on Facebook. So it's a good thing that we're in an area where there isn't just so many people doing it. That makes our show easier to sell when we, as I was saying earlier off air, it's a novelty that there just isn't so many people doing it.
Yeah.
I recall you were on Australia's Got Talent, and after you did that gig, did the opportunities start to explode? Like, more and more people saw, what you guys do? It did.
Yeah, well, that was the reason why we went on then. It was many years ago. It was, as I was saying, it wasn't the current lineup of, whoever it is now, but it was Red Simons and Tom Burlinson But just before I answer that question, when we were on, we thought it was a good idea to get more work. We thought this would be great to get more work, and we were all lined up. All the acts were all lined up, and in front of us, we were all lined up. In front of us, there was a 7'2" guy that burped the national anthem. There was an old lady with a dancing dog, and then there was 4 elderly ladies that were doing a dance routine. Then there was us. So I remember asking my bass player, have we made the right decision? Yeah, this was really. But look, we went over really well, and I think we got about a year's solid work from it. Yeah, so we set up a website, updated our website, and put that clip on there. And yeah, as we were saying off air earlier as well, when people see you on TV these days, it's you know, you must be good, you're on TV.
Yeah, it gives you that notoriety, that little bit of exposure just to help. And you've been doing quite a few tours. You've actually just finished doing one around Australia, and you're going to go to New Zealand. Is that something you do quite regularly?
Yeah, we're now sort of a touring band. We've sort of done everything we sort of can do in Queensland. We've played every backyard, front yard, restaurant, pub, club, you name it in Queensland. So we've now got professional management. Our manager looks after Daryl Braithwaite and Manal Zenithink and a few of those. So we're very fortunate to have him on board, because I think without sort of getting out there, your show will eventually die. We did so much work in Queensland that was probably detrimental to the longevity of our show, but now that we're sort of getting into other areas, it's broadened our future.
You're heading over to New Zealand. Is that the first time you've been there, or?
No, we've been there about 3 times, but they were mainly corporate functions. So this will be our first time we're doing a tour. Yeah. So that'll be great. But no, we've been to Singapore a few times, China. I was flying to France, which was hilarious, because I thought I was getting a prank email from a guy in France who was running a television show. So I went over there for a week, and on this massive big television lookalike. It was a lookalike show. So
that makes sense.
Yeah. I was going to ask you, like, do you have any funny stories of when you went travelling and, you know, doing the gig?
Yeah, any notable?
Yeah, there's a few that I can probably tell you when the cameras are off.
I was going to say G-rated.
One lady asked me if I was gay, and I said, look, I don't answer questions like that. It's all magic. And was disappointed that I didn't answer the question. And the reason why she was disappointed is that she actually thought I was Freddie Mercury.
Oh.
Yeah, and she wasn't. She was really sincere about it, and I can't remember. I think we were in Singapore when that happened. But look, there's been plenty of funny stories. They're naughty stories, but.
And I guess you have a lot of fun, you know, when you're out touring with your bandmates. You know, do you just have a good time?
Yeah, it is fun. I mean, that's what it's all about. I mean, I think Confucius said, "Find a job that you love doing, and you'll never work another day in your life." So that's it. Yeah. Yeah. Look, we've had a lot of fun. It's been great. It is nice to be a rock star on the weekend and then go back to your normal day life tonight. As I say, I've got 2 little kids, so I normally get my partner will save the nappies for me when I get home and all that type of stuff.
Well, we're going to have to take a break. We'll be back soon with more John Blunt on Showreel. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to Showreel. We're joined today by John Blunt, a Freddie Mercury impersonator from the Killer Queen tribute band. So, as an impersonator, obviously you have to get into the character and the costume of somebody else. What goes into the process of actually doing that transformation?
Well, I mean, I've studied a lot of the videos and things of that nature. I've read a lot of books, and you sort of keep all that information sort of filed away. But when you're backstage and you get into this costume, as I said, well, I've got some teeth that I put in, and I mean, I really look in the mirror and just think, my God, what happened to John Blunt? He's gone. Yeah. So that gets into character. And of course, my band also dress and look scarily just exactly like the same members. So when you've got that sort of ambience happening around you and you can hear a little bit of the audience, it helps to get into character. You know, you have to become who people are paying to see. You've got to become them. So all that is part of the process of the transformation.
Yes. And in terms of the costume transformation, how long does that take? Is it a long process, or is it usually quite quick?
It's quite quick. Some of the costumes that I have are spandex, and I have got to watch my weight over the next couple of years because I'm starting to look like an Easter egg in some of them. It's not a great look. But he wore boxing boots, so I have to lace up these boxing boots and all that type of stuff. So it's all about authenticity. I try to, you know, create exactly what he wore. Some of the costumes are easy to get into. I do a lot of layering, so I'll put on clothes on top of clothes so I can get off stage and do a quick costume change and things like that. But Yeah, there's lots of wigs and there's lots of hats and things of that nature. So, but generally they're pretty easy to get into.
How long did it take you to get all that assembled, like all the costumes, wigs over the years?
That was hard, yeah. That was really hard.
Because you can't go into Target and
exactly, exactly. No, well, you can't just pick these up. I thought I might be able to get a lot of stuff off eBay, but there's just nothing. There was just nothing at all. So I found a lady who makes wedding gowns on the Gold Coast. And she was just delighted that she was being able to do something different, and it was crazy. I was just sort of testing how good she was by just grabbing shots of just bizarre costumes, and I would copy them in left and right, and so she had different angles, and it was just like she had pulled these costumes out of the picture. It was crazy. I've got some amazing costumes. I just bought a house, and it has 6 bedrooms, and I said to my partner, she loves doing nails, and she said, I'd like to have one of these rooms for nails. And I said, I've got too many costumes. You've only got 10 fingers. I've got, I mean, I think I've got about 80 to 100 costumes. So I just made this entire room look like a backstage area, and it's just got all my costumes in it. So. And she's doing a nail somewhere else.
Yeah, and the costume you're wearing today, did that lady make that for you? And how long does it take her to make a costume for you?
Well, it takes. This is what he wore in the Wembley concert. So I call this the Wembley jacket and the Wembley pants. This was like a 1985 costume, but yeah, generally it takes about 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Some of the things that I've asked her to make are vinyl, so she has to source the vinyl, and she actually made me a jacket, and I put it on, it immediately ripped, and she couldn't believe it, and it took like 3 weeks to make. I put it on, I went, oh, that's, and I think it stripped in the seam.
Oh, no.
So she had to buy thicker vinyl, and so about 2 weeks.
Yeah. So what's your favourite out of all? Like, he's got a lot of iconic outfits, you know, Freddie Mercury. What's your favourite one?
He wore this outfit. It was a Harlequin spandex pants and like a really weird sort of general's jacket, and I got that made. And and he had white gloves, and I like that because it's really quite comfortable. I was going to wear that today, but it's a bit, you know, if you haven't seen it before, it's a bit weird.
I've taken over an hour to put on.
Yeah, it's a bit tricky. Yeah. He wore it to, I think it was his 40th birthday party, and I think he enjoyed the costume so much, he made a film clip around just that outfit. So, but I just wanted to wear something today that was iconic, so everyone would know exactly what this costume was.
And you were saying when you put on the costume and you put on the teeth and the wigs and everything, that gets you into character. But is there anything else you do, within yourself? Even, you said you did some acting, some kind of method acting stuff to get you into the mindset of,
Freddie.
Doing the performing and being Freddie.
Yeah, well, there's a few things that Freddie had. There was a biography that was written about him, and he knew that he was very eccentric and stuff like that. So. He had this saying that he basically, when he hit the stage, he dared people to hate him, and I have that in my mind. And and someone said he looked like a stallion, like a prancing stallion on stage. So I keep just little things like that, like little mantras in my head. And he moved a lot, so I make sure that when I hit the stage, I do all those things that people immediately identify with Freddie.
And you obviously do look very, very similar, and you were saying it came up actually at a Halloween party that you went along dressed as this,
Freddie.
and it kind of just stuck from there. But, growing the stage presence, obviously people come to see that. Was that hard to do, when you first started? Was that a process to learn how to have his stage presence?
Yeah, it is, because even Freddie himself, he said, that is not me. Freddie was a very shy person, and he said this persona that he has on stage, it's quite intense and it's powerful. He was demanding and commanding 80,000 people to sing along with him and all that type of stuff. He said he's a very, very shy person. And I'm not a shy person, but I wish I could command people in real life as I do on stage. When I tell them to clap, they clap. When I tell them to sing, they sing. I wish I could at home say, do the ironing now, coffee, now. But, you really do have to... I'm an actor first and a musician second, and my bandmates will definitely, they definitely remind me of that on some occasions. But I think just acting like him comes first. A lot of people listen with their eyes. I look so much like him that I think a lot of people just, when I hit the stage, I've actually been contacted by his his last name is Balsara. That's Farouk Balsara was his correct name. I've actually been contacted by Balsara Kin on Facebook to say, you must be our cousin or something like that. I've gone, no, I'm not. I was born in Australia.
That's fantastic.
When you're on the streets and stuff, do you and the boys in the band get recognised? Like, I know you're not on stage, but just around.
Well, my bass player looks exactly like, I wish he could have made it today, but he's just very, very busy. But he looks exactly like John Deacon. It's so much so that when I'm singing, I look over and just think, where am I? This is crazy. And my guitarist is growing his hair because Brian May had really, really long sort of, it was like a afro mullet type of thing. So he's growing his hair, but he's found this wig in Sydney and it is just amazing. So when I'm looking left and looking right, I feel like I'm there. We don't get recognised so much in Brisbane, occasionally, but whenever we've been to Singapore or Norway and we go to New Zealand, we've done so much press for New Zealand that we'll always sort of get recognised. And of course I wear a shirt that says, I am John Blunt from Killer Queen. I'm totally joking.
That would kind of give it away a little bit.
Yeah, it's the moustache. People will generally say, you look like Freddie Mercury. Are you in a Queen band? Or, you idiot, what are you doing?
So well, it's good at the moment being, you know, that time of year. A lot of people are growing their moustaches.
Or November.
Exactly.
It's my favourite month.
It's
my favourite month. People go, great November.
So you're just like, I'm just extending Movember for the rest of the year.
Well, it's Movember every month for me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And do you find Freddie rubbing off on you a little bit? Do you ever, you know, find some of his stuff creeping into your normal life?
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of the times, I think I've become a little bit precious with a few things, which I never used to be. I never used to drink beer on stage, but Freddie did. But I have water, and then maybe a beer, and sometimes I'll have a cup of tea. But yeah, a few little things have crept in. The funny thing is, he was born on the 5th of September, and I was born on the 9th. So we're both Virgos. We've got a few things in common, actually. He's got a younger sister. I have a younger sister, so yeah, a few of these things have crept in. Not a lot, but a few little things.
But I guess it also is good, of course, being a rock star on the weekend and then coming back to your normal life
during the week, rock star on a weekend.
It
works for me.
Well, we're going to have to take another break. We'll be back soon with our flashback reviews. Don't go away.
Welcome back to Showreel. This week we have 2 flashback reviews of Australian classics.
First up is the 1994 musical comedy The Adventures of Priscilla, Queen of the Desert.
They're ready for stardom. They're ready for fame. They're ready for their close-up.
First I was afraid, I was petrified. Kept thinking I could never live without you by
Come on, girls. Let's go shopping.
This is the story of 3 hard-working guys
What kind of cabaret do you do?
We dress up in women's clothes and parade around mouthing the words to other people's songs.
who are about to discover
Ta-da!
Been asked to do a show out of town?
How long is the run?
4 weeks.
The Adventures of Priscilla, Queen of the Desert is written and directed by Stephen Elliott. It is a unique and ambitious film, especially within Australian cinema, as it deals with homosexuality and transsexual protagonists. As such, the story follows a transsexual man, Bernadette, portrayed by the virtually unrecognisable Terence Stamp, and 2 drag artists, Tick, portrayed by Hugo Weaving, and Adam, portrayed by Guy Pearce, who travel across Australia on a bus named Priscilla, so they can perform a cabaret act at a remote casino that's operated by Tick's ex-partner.
that hitting the road is hard.
I hereby christen this budget Barbie camper Priscilla, Queen of the Desert.
Especially in heels.
Sorry.
Throughout their journey, they encounter bizarre individuals and find themselves in hilarious situations. What I found interesting in Priscilla, Queen of the Desert was that Stephen Elliott challenged the social construct of your typical Australian masculine protagonists seen in such films like Crocodile Dundee, and instead created likeable male gay characters that did a complete 180 on the Australian stereotype. Combine this with outstanding performances of Terence Stamp, Hugo Weaving and Guy Pearce, who give a hilarious and very realistic portrayal of drag artists. It comes as no surprise that Terence Stamp in particular, who stole the show in this film, was nominated for Best Actor at the 67th Academy Awards. The cinematography and mise-en-scène for Priscilla, Queen of the Desert worked in perfect tandem, highlighting the Australianness of the film's setting with stunning camera shots of the outback landscape. Apart from the performances, another aspect of the film that captivated audiences was the extravagant, outlandish costumes and wigs that were characters in themselves. Thankfully, the Academy Awards realised this, and Priscilla, Queen of the Desert won the Best Costume Award. What made this film so enjoyable was its brilliant screenplay that was written by the director, Stephen Elliott, as it injected hilarious sexual gags and comedy into a relatively relatable story about personal growth. Priscilla, Queen of the Desert is a welcome relief from both mainstream Australian and Hollywood film productions, and I highly recommend you watch this classic. 4 out of 5 stars. Now, it's over to Catherine with her review of the 1992 romantic comedy, Strictly Ballroom.
Strictly Ballroom is another wonderfully offbeat Australian romantic comedy film. Directed and co-written by Baz Luhrmann, the 1992 film is about a male dancer played by Paul Mercurio who refuses to follow the accepted rules of ballroom dancing. He creates his own style of choreography which infuriates the ballroom dancing establishment. Before he is scheduled to compete in the Pan-Pacific Ballroom Championships, he's forced to take up a new partner, played by Tara Morris, a beginner who initially seems without promise. With his help, she turns into an assured and wonderful dancer.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Samba! He had the world at his feet.
Come on, number 100!
He had the moves.
Flashy, crowd-pleasing steps.
He had the magic.
I keep asking myself why. Did I fail him as a mother?
He had the music.
The pogo-pogo.
Rudy Rumba.
Tango, please.
The one thing he needed was a partner.
Stay calm, Liz. Stay calm.
This film is the first of Luhrmann's red carpet trilogies of theatre motif-related films. The visual style may be too bright and extravagant for some tastes, yet his characters are wonderful and what really makes Strictly Ballroom an engaging comedy.
I want to dance with you your way.
Look at me like you're in love. That's it.
Now everything's theirs for the taking.
But you won't win if you don't have a partner. I'm dancing with Fran.
Fran?
All they have to do
You're a beginner, Fran. What the hell did you think you were doing?
is make the right move.
The film plays with cliches and stereotypes, both mocking and embracing them at the same time. Though the storyline and plot are predictable, they're about as old as the hills, the characters seem to come from another planet. You might think while you're watching it, surely nobody in Australia dresses like this, talks like this, or even takes ballroom dancing this seriously. Well, they do. The true weirdness of the movie comes when you begin to realise Baz Luhrmann didn't just make all this up, but rather he drew from inspiration from his own childhood life experiences. Only real life could possibly have inspired a world this bizarre. This classic Australian film is funny, charming and energetic, and you will be captivated as these two daring souls break new ground and are not deterred by fear. Strictly Ballroom grossed over $22 million at the box office in Australia, which is the equivalent to almost $40 million today. I give it 4 shimmering, sparkly stars out of 5.
That's all the time we have for today. Thanks so much for joining us, John. We had a great time.
Thank you.
Yes, it was an absolute pleasure having you on the show.
I've had a fantastic time.
Make sure you check out our Showreel podcast and, of course, our Facebook, Twitter and YouTube pages. Join us at the same time next week for more Showreel. See you then.